HBO Max might have a huge hit on their hands with this one. I got to see The Peacemaker, which is a follow-up to James Gunn's The Suicide Squad movie that came out in 2021 in the summer. This continues the story of John Cena playing Christopher Smith as the Peacemaker in the DC universe. Even though I'm saying DC universe because there's all these rumors about it getting rebooted by The Flash, so I don't even know if any of this stuff is canon anymore, or maybe it is canon, but it'll get wiped over. I really have no idea. But that's a video for another day. Let's talk about Peacemaker, directed and written by James Gunn. He wrote and directed the first 3 episodes. They're up on HBO Max right now. They came out last week. I want to give my thoughts. So first of all, I'm not going to go into spoilers until the second half of this video because some of you probably have not seen it yet. And because of that, that's okay. Because some of y'all probably don't even know that it's even out because it came out right under my nose. Like I didn't even see it. And then also, some folks are probably not sure if they want to even try it out because of all the nonsense going on with DC. I mean, there's so much information and news coming out every day about DC's plans for this year that it's quite overwhelming, even for a hardcore fan. But I'm telling you right now, The Peacemaker is, dude, look, I'm going to say it right now, and there's only 3 episodes out. I enjoyed these 3 episodes more than the entire Hawkeye series combined. I enjoyed these 3 episodes more than the Falcon and Winter Soldier series. Like, outside of maybe Loki, this show blows away all of the Marvel Disney Plus shows. Maybe not What If, or maybe it does. Like, for live action, let's do live action. This show, The Peacemaker, blows away almost every Disney Plus Marvel show. They got something with this one. First of all, I gotta talk about the charisma of John Cena, okay? John Cena is so damn charismatic that people who question him being a leading man might change their minds after seeing this show. He has to carry the show. He does a phenomenal job in carrying the show, and he really shows his comedic timing. It's almost like when Chris Hemsworth started doing comedy, like, we knew he kind of had a little bit of it in him, but now we really see it come out, and he's great. James Gunn is the perfect guy to work with these dudes, these pro wrestlers, you know, like Batista over in the Guardians world and John Cena here in The Peacemaker, because he knows how to get that. And these guys all have charisma. I mean, if you watch WWE, you know that they have charisma, but he really gets the best out of them. There's even jokes in here about pro wrestling, which we'll talk about later. And that's really the other thing I want to talk about is James Gunn as director. Comedy-wise, he's allowed to do a lot more than he could, you know, in other places. And this show, while not being as over the top as the Suicide Squad movie is, because it's more of a character piece, it's dripping with James Gunn humor. And the thing is, like, one thing about DC, right, is you've got like the Snyder films, which are basically really dark, really sort of you know, noir type of movies, you know, usually focused on a lot of like deeper sort of psychological elements to them, right? And then you've also got stuff like The Suicide Squad. You've got stuff like Shazam, where the comedy is a bit, you know, there's a bit more comedy there, but when it comes to Peacemaker and Suicide Squad, this comedy is not like Marvel/Disney comedy. This is not like, this thing is loaded with profanity. I've never ever even thought of hearing John Cena say the F word as much as he actually does in this show within one scene. Hell, the dude even has sex. There's a sex scene in this show. They pushed it. They really pushed it, yo. There's a sex scene in this show with John Cena. Of course, it's played for laughs, but I mean, you know, this is not like a Disney Plus you can watch with the family. You know, if you're cognizant of that, if you're a parent and you're not really sure, like, just letting you know that now. In the very first episode, there's F words, there's sex, it's wild. Very violent, of course, over-the-top gore, but man, is it fun. Kind of reminds me a bit of The Boys from Amazon. It really had that kind of flair to it. Besides John Cena, we also have Robert Patrick playing John Cena's dad, and man, is he phenomenal. The fact that, and I said it before, Robert Patrick, who, the T-1000, the guy who was the villain in John Cena's first movie. Let's not forget that. He was the villain in John Cena's first movie, is now playing his dad, and he's one of the funniest characters. He represents that old school, older generation. He's pretty much a boomer, but because of that, He's a great character, and then you find out more about him in the sequels. Not the sequels, I'm sorry, the second and third, really the second episode, you really find out some very interesting things about him. Other characters round out the cast are working for Task Force X, trying to get the Peacemaker, who's now out of prison, to help them assassinate this, it's called Project Butterfly. They're trying to assassinate a senator, and there's a lot more to the senator than meets the eye. You don't find out the truth until episode 3, but there's obviously a reason as to why Amanda Waller, who does make a cameo in this, wants him dead. So it really follows the Peacemaker getting reacclimated to the world and also trying to live his best life. The thing about the show is that a lot of characters are really, really dumb, and it's played up for laughs like that. And they're supposed to be dumb, but they have a charm to them. John Cena's character, Christopher, the Peacemaker, he's kind of a lovable idiot, especially in episode 3 when he's faced with a very interesting moral dilemma that he is unsure about. Like, he doesn't want to do it. He's not sure if he should. It's kind of something that if any of us were stuck in that situation, if you have any kind of soul, you would also kind of question whether or not you should follow the rules and do what they want you to do, or if you should not do what they want you to do because you're not sure. You don't really trust anybody. They got that whole thing going on. Absolutely phenomenal stuff, yo. I had so much fun watching this. I don't know if James Gunn writes and directs every episode. I have doubts about that, but man, these first 3 episodes were killer, and the show will continue from here. This is a hit. This is a hit if you ask me, and it's too bad that people are sleeping on it because don't sleep on it, yo. Go see The Peacemaker right now on HBO Max. I promise you by the end of the first episode, you'll be hooked. Especially if you like James Gunn. If you like that kind of humor, that adult humor. If you like stuff like The Boys, this is actually like The Boys, but even more hardcore as far as how much they push the envelope. So, trust me, it's great. It's a fun show. The key word is fun. I had fun watching it, and John Cena definitely carries the screen. Now, let's talk a little bit about some spoilers, okay? You've already seen the 3 episodes. I want to get into some of the specific things that I loved, okay? First of all, the Eagle. Love the Eagle. Reminds me of Pigeon from Mike Tyson's Mysteries. Rest in peace, Norm Macdonald. I love that. I love the fact that Robert Patrick, John Cena's dad, is a member of the Klan or whatever. He's like a racist. And there's like little tidbits of maybe, Peacemaker could be racist even though he's really not. I love that he's so ignorant to like the LGBT. There's a joke in this where you remember the joke where he's talking to the lesbian chick and he's like, do you guys do scissoring? And then he's like, I'm an ally. She's like, oh, because you watch lesbian porn, you're an ally? And he's like, I got 400 gigs of porn that prove that I'm an ally, or something like that. I forget. It was much better. The punchline was better than the way I just said it. But, yeah, I love that line. I love, he sometimes a little bit too stupid. Am I gonna become a dick vampire dick butterfly? Or like, it was funny, but it was like, okay, bro, you ain't that dumb. There's that. John Cena, of course, ripped to shreds. I love in the 3rd episode where they're the Asian jokes that they really push it, yo. Like the Asian jokes he makes to the senator's bodyguard. I love his so-called sidekick. I'm talking about Vigilante. Vigilante, I mean, there's some real kick-ass vibes with that character. Real kick-ass vibes. But then we find out at the end that there's a bunch of butterflies all over the place, and now that's going to be the big problem. I believe there's about 5 more episodes left. They're not all directed by James Gunn, but they are all written by James Gunn. I looked it up just now, by the way, that just to make sure. And that gets me very excited because at the very least he wrote all the episodes, and he's probably going to be very directly tied in to a lot of how the show goes. But the bottom line is, man, this show is just pure fun. It's got some great actors doing great things. Maybe not like legendary actors, you know what I mean? Like there's no Robert De Niro or anybody like that in this, but I mean, Robert Patrick is great. I mean, I love Robert Patrick. Danielle Brooks' character is pretty interesting. Finding out that she's secretly Amanda Waller's daughter, spoiler, but I said this is a spoiler section, is interesting, and I wonder where they're going to go with that. I like that her and Peacemaker are kind of like at opposite ends of the political spectrum. It's not really a big deal for the story, but it is one that I find rather interesting, and one that I think is going to lead to some fun moments. So Oh man, I love this show, dude. If you guys disagreed, let me know in the comments. But dude, if you've seen this, this is my kind of show, and not every show can be like this. I don't want there. I know there's gonna be a bunch of clones. They're gonna come out copying it. I don't want that. This show needs to be itself. You know what I mean? It needs to stay itself. The intro, everything about it is just wacky, and I hope that DC gets James Gunn back for another season if he chooses to do so. That's it. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Subscribe if you're new, and we'll talk soon.